Hi, everyone. So this is really different than what we normally do. But we figured this is a different location and it's been everywhere and everybody knows somewhat of the story. So why write a story? So we're just going to talk about our investigation and our trip to the Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. And I got Kaz on with me tonight to discuss and talk about what we experienced. So, so at the end of July, a bunch of us traveled to Hinsdale, New York, and we got to investigate the Hinsdale House. Now, for those of you who may not know what the Hinsdale House is, it is a house. It's a house. Somebody lived in it.
The end.
Live in it. It's a house. It is located in Hinsdale, New York. It is literally located in the middle of nowhere. If you like the country and you like the, well, I wouldn't say quiet, but if you like the country and the quiet, you'd like this place. It is a farmhouse. It was built in the 1853, I want to say, so 1850s, we'll say. And it was built and had numerous families living in it. And in the 1970s, the Dandy family moved in and they started experiencing some pretty interesting paranormal activity, to the point where the family just decided 16 months or so after moving in that they were moving out. The next families that moved in, they say that some stayed for 6 months, some stayed a little longer. Apparently one only stayed for 2 weeks, but those are just rumored stories, so I'm not quite sure. But the last family to live there was an older couple, and they lived there till the very end. And then sadly the house fell into disrepair. It was still used for some paranormal investigations, but a man named Daniel purchased it, and it is turned into what it is today, which is a very interesting location. So we showed up at about 7 o'clock at night. Of course, being summer, it's still light out. And we had a little tour with one of the staff that was in charge of the place. And it was actually quite interesting. The place was, for me, when I think back to it, it was very green.
Yes.
There was a lot of green. So the green grass, like lush green, like it wasn't like, it didn't look like some scary house in the back 40.
No, actually, well, more so in the morning, when Alice and I were outside, but even in the evening, you feel like you're like in Tuscany or somewhere, because I mean, around the house was all of that property and the woods, but then in front of it was just like rolling hills and forest as well. So yeah, it was very serene, very beautiful. Not something you think about in a notoriously haunted poltergeist kind of activity place. You'd think it'd be a little different.
And it's not when they show it on TV, because it's been on a bunch of TV shows. And when you see it on TV, it feels like it's creepier than it actually looks in the day. So when you see it in the day, it's like you're just going to some farmhouse. And for me, it felt like I was spending the night at an Airbnb. That's the feel that I got, because you got to, you could use the fire pit and cook your food or use the barbecue. You could have a shower if you wanted to. It was just like you just rented a house with a bunch of friends, but that house kind of came with a little bit of a paranormal activity. But
with a few guests we didn't invite.
For us, it was just like, what we do on a normal weekend, just find some haunted place to stay. But this one was definitely something else. So, so my experiences when we got there is we did a tour of the land, and then we went into the house and we walked around and we looked. And for me, seeing it on TV didn't do it justice, really, for me. It was definitely had a feel. It definitely had. What did you feel when you first walked in?
So I thought kind of the opposite. I thought on the shows, and it's funny because, as you know, I generally don't look up where we're going or know much about anything, but I know that I had seen at least 2 shows a long time ago about the Hinsdale House. So when I got there, I was slightly underwhelmed because I was like, it looks kind of small. And then when you go inside, even inside, I'm like, oh, this is kind of it. But then as you start moving through the house, and almost I feel, and maybe it's because this house is an active Airbnb and it's rented out literally, I would say at least every weekend, if not, a couple of times a week. I think the energies of the house need a moment to gauge who you are before they kind of unleash. So it was feeling us out as much as we were feeling it out. And it really wasn't until I went upstairs that I'm like, I don't know that I like it here. Like, more so, I mean, the stairs themselves are messed up because I think it was supposed to be an attic. So the stairs where they would typically go all the way up, it stops at a wall and you have to turn and step up into either room, which throws you off right away. And then when I went into that one room on the right, I actually like fell over, like I got very dizzy, and then I'm like, no, I don't like this at all. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. But at first, when we first walked in, I'm like, oh, this is so quaint. It's got a little kitchenette, and it just has that little like cottagey feel. And we're just bringing in our stuff, and it was like, okay. And then then I went upstairs and was like, ooh. And then the bathroom. So just so I can let everyone visualize this, you go into the bathroom, and then when you sit on the toilet, you're facing the door to go to the basement, like, maybe a foot away from you. And the whole time you're like, if this thing moves, I'm out of here. Pants around my ankles, I'm gone. Forget it. Trail of toilet paper, I don't care. Because you're just, the whole time you're just sitting there like, oh my God, because it's right there.
Yeah.
And there's a big sign that's like, this door must remain closed at all times. And you're like, oh, what's down there? So little things like that, after a while, you're like, oh, this is real now. Okay. And then, of course, once it got dark, game on. Probably actually, when we went up to that tree.
Yeah, that's the other
thing. And then
we
were like, oh, and then when we were leaving the tree, I think we were all a little unnerved.
And because that's how we started. That's how we started. We figured after being warned it was bear country. Because what's more scary? Bears.
Exactly.
Apparently things that start with beasts are scary. We'll get to that later.
Apparently.
Hearing that it was bear country, and we're in July and all of that. I think we wanted to go up to the giving tree first. In the light, so we knew where we were going, and just give our offerings to the land. So we did present the land offerings because it is on native land, and it was there was a lot of battles on that land, part of the Beaver Wars, and there was a lot of bloodshed, and that's not between white settlers and natives. It was actually between natives. A lot of people just think that, oh, it's the white settlers, they came in, they did this, blah, blah, blah. But it was actually between native tribes. It was pretty much like the Algonquins came in and kind of like wiped some tribes out, and kind of made them assimilate to other tribes. So it was definitely, not white settlers. So being native land, we presented an offering. So we all wrapped up a ceremonial tobacco in the yellow cloth, and we presented it to the land, hoping that it would be good.
We come in peace.
Yes, to let them know that we weren't there to do any harm or to cause anything or to stir shit up, so to say. So we did that, but that was a very weird experience because there was stuff moving on that tree that shouldn't have been moving because it wasn't windy at all. And then
the amount of stuff that was hanging on that tree, and it was like one thing going crazy. But I'll have to maybe even splice in, now I'm getting all technical, splice. I don't know how to do any of that, but on my GoPro you hear Ryan start talking about, I think, the native sort of battles that have gone on, and that's when that thing starts spinning like crazy. And the two other, like, for those who don't know, it's a big tree that people have hung like wind chimes and all kinds of things are hanging off this tree. And I don't even know how many pieces there are, like 50, 60 things hanging, and one is going mentally insane. And like Rachel said, there's no wind, there's nothing around, and this thing is going crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
it seemed to go crazy when Ryan started talking about
Yeah.
the natives of the land.
Yeah, and we could hear things and snapping and stuff in the woods. Like, pretty sure I thought there was a bear at one point because Rachel can't do wild animals,
Mhm.
but yeah, but it's like you think there's somebody there, or there was something walking. Could have been a squirrel or a chipmunk,
Mhm.
but they were definitely some large snapping sounds. And then we have the picture that Liz took. It was
Weird.
crazy. I could see this little hair hanging in front of my face. It's driving me. But so Liz took a picture as we were all turning around. So Liz is Ryan's wife, and she took a picture just with her phone as we were turning around and leaving, because she just had this like intense like thing, like feeling to turn around and take a picture.
Mhm.
And we're not smoking up there because, one, we're in the bush and it's dry. Like, nobody is going to smoke in a dry bush, and if you do, well, you deserve what's coming.
Right.
But no one was smoking. There's flashlights. I think Ryan had a flashlight, but he's not aiming it at his wife.
Mhm.
He had it because, he hears a noise in the bush, being who he is, he has to, shine it in your face.
Exactly.
But
Interrogate whoever it is.
yeah. But she got this like really weird picture, and I'm going to try to put it in so everyone can see, but
Mhm.
it is literally like smoke and mist, and it's really interesting. And
Yeah.
and of course, it's July. It's hot. It's not our breath. At
No.
least I hope it's
And
not our
what I've just clued into is we placed tobacco
Mhm. Oh,
as a peace offering. And so the fact that she's got, this
yeah.
smoky effect come on. And I think, well, I had my GoPro, I think I had already turned it off at that point, or I was at least in front of her
Mhm.
because I remember she took it, like you guys stayed and we were like, I think there's a bear. And off we go. We're like,
Yeah.
good luck,
Oh,
everyone.
yeah, and that walk up to that tree, like, when you watch on TV shows, it just looks like it's a little hill. No, it's
Yes, it is very steep. And they're like roots everywhere. They've had to
yeah.
spray paint them so that you can see. Even then, you trip over them. Yeah, and with those little pine needles, you're like you just like slide down.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a death trap. I'm just gonna say.
Definitely something that you would definitely want a flashlight for if
Yeah,
you're going up in the dark.
hiking boots is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I don't know if I'd want to go up there in the dark, though. That's just me and wildlife, though. But
no,
I don't know. It's just like, for me, I gave the offering to the tree. I should respect the
exactly.
space, right? Like, I should respect that space, and I move
Mhm.
on. I'm not going to overstay
And
my welcome there.
precisely. So I didn't know much about up there, but I thought like it's the giving tree, and we wanted to go there and pay respects and just say we're going to be on this land and we come in peace. So there was no other reason for us to go up there.
No.
I don't know if it's supposed to be haunted up there, but I couldn't see a reason for me at least to go back up there, and I would feel
Mhm.
totally like I'm invading
Mhm.
and kind of, yeah, like trespassing. Not that it is
Yeah.
trespassing, but just feel like I shouldn't be up there at night. We did what we were supposed to do. We went, we gave our
Mhm.
offering, we thanked them for allowing us to be there.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. And I can't even imagine during the day running down that hill if something's chasing me, let alone at night.
Be like
No.
Indiana Jones.
Yes. Or every horror movie where the white
Yeah.
girl's like, ah, and then she trips and falls, and
Oh
that's
my
how
god.
she dies. So yeah, no, I don't. It was starting to get dark when we were leaving, and
Yeah.
that was enough.
And even still, like, when we got to the
Mm.
bottom, like, we were still hearing things, and we were pretty sure it was a bear, but nothing came. There was no bear.
No,
Yeah, it could have been a
thankfully,
squirrel. Yeah.
probably. It was
No, no.
probably just a squirrel, like, what's going on here? And we're like,
Yeah.
it's a bear.
Yeah. So
Oh, city folk.
but we didn't, yeah. Oh my gosh. But we didn't spend a lot of time outside per se to investigate. A lot of our investigating was in the house.
Yeah.
Which
Again, so
oh,
I don't know anything about the land in terms of if it if there's stuff activity that goes on out there.
Mhm.
So I don't know a reason for being out there other than just being free food for the mosquitoes. But that was about, yeah. I mean, we were out there when we were cooking
Yeah.
our food.
Yeah.
And I've never seen Ryan and Liz and Allison look more terrified because every
Well,
little like wind blow, they're like, "What is
yeah.
going on here?" I'm
And
like, "It's
Ryan was
okay."
sure he could see people in the windows, which is a common
Yes,
report of activity there, is seeing people in the windows,
and
whether
I'm
you're
trying
standing
to
inside
think.
or standing outside.
Well, by this point, we had already had activity go
Mhm.
on, so I think we were slightly heightened at that point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, and so we had basically, right, I guess we should probably eat at some point, which is why we decided to go out. But I think we were just all letting it kind of settle and be like, shit, we're here for the long haul. And
Yeah.
stuff's already starting to ramp up. What are we in for?
And then we
And
should tell
boy, did we
everybody,
not know.
like, we started our investigation and like we put equipment down, and it was almost immediate that things were
Yeah.
starting to activate, and you know, noises were being heard. And it was at the point where Allison was just going to sit at that kitchen table and not move. She was not going
For a
upstairs.
long time, she
Yeah.
did not move from there.
Yeah. And like we all sat in the living room right off the bat, and Ryan
Yep.
was over in the one corner. So if you go to Hinsdale and you go into the living room and you go all the way in and you look to your right, that used to be a bedroom. But now it's part of the living room, and it's where they have the dolls, and they have that haunted doll that I don't know. I didn't really pick up anything from, it was just a doll to me, but I'm used to that.
Yeah.
But like he sat there and he was getting insane K2 readings and all that. And it was just,
Mm-hmm.
he couldn't figure it out. Another place he couldn't figure it out. And it was driving him nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and then we stuck like the EMF tripwire on the floor there, and it kept lighting up like somebody was walking by.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot.
We had the two K2s at one point,
Mm-hmm.
and they were both triggering,
Mm-hmm.
which is always interesting because, you know, one piece of equipment going off, okay, but when you've got numerous ones activating at the same time, going off at the same time, and there isn't that explanation, it's very curious.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And what we don't realize at this point, because I had gone upstairs, we had a REM pod in the master bedroom closet,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the triangle, yes, was in the doorway, and I had my GoPro facing it. And so what we don't know at this point is the REM pods going off like crazy throughout our investigation. So we're actually underneath the
Mm-hmm.
master bedroom. And funnily enough, like another place that we've been to that was chaos, we all end up as a group and we all stay as a group. And it's
Yeah.
not intentional,
It just
it
happened.
just happens. And so the whole time upstairs, the triangle's lighting up, the REM pod's going off, and then we hear walking, and
Mhm.
we hear it downstairs. You can hear us say, "Is someone walking?" And you can clearly hear it on the GoPro. Someone walks across that bedroom, and then the triangle lights up. So things are just going chaos, kind of. And I think you were listening at one point. We thought we heard voices. Like there was a lot happening suddenly all at once.
Yeah.
And we were just like, we don't even know if we should move. Do we want to move? Like, and then I think everyone at some point was afraid to walk past the stairs. So in Hinsdale, when you walk in, you walk into the kitchen, and then to your left is you go through into the living room. You have the stairs going up, and then the bathroom.
Mhm.
So if you want to go to the bathroom, you got to walk past those stairs. And I think all of us were just like, oh shit, when we have to go past the stairs and you have to like run past them. Or when you come
I
out,
don't
you
know.
hear,
I didn't have that feeling. I just, well,
oh,
then
it
again,
was like,
I don't know.
I'm out of here.
I don't know.
And
It was,
there's at the very top of the stairs. So like I said, these stairs end at a wall. like and there's actually a sensor light that when you're about 2 or 3 stairs from the top, the sensor light will come on, obviously, so you don't fall or, you know, trip going up the stairs. And that would activate constantly. We'd be in the kitchen and suddenly that light would come on. And you had to be, like, we tested it. You had to be, I think it was 2 stairs from the top, and that's when it would activate. So that's interesting because, I mean, there were lots of bugs there,
Yeah.
but I mean, I can't, it would have to be a pretty big bug or something else that flies by that to trigger it, but you would see it.
Yeah. Well, for sure, you would definitely see
Yeah.
anything bigger than a bug.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time upstairs either. I don't know. I was just in the living room a lot. And I don't know if that was just me being me or if it was just something keeping me. I don't know. I don't know. But it's just, I don't know.
Well,
so that was the first part of the night, but we did go upstairs. Like we did investigate upstairs. We did do an Estes method. So I went up in the master bedroom. I sat in the one corner and everyone else seemed to sit on the bed. Thanks, guys. I don't really know what happened during that time. I do know the EMF tripwire lights, because we put them around me. They were going off. But again, not much coming through, and I'm not quite sure exactly what was coming through at this point.
There were a few interesting things. You said when you were under, you mentioned something about being up. And we're like, we're already as far up. Do you mean the roof? And then shortly after, there were, I don't think I heard it, but I know Ryan and Jay were insistent they could hear as if someone was walking on the roof. And then, of course, the lights were lighting up. There was a time, so I have a very sophisticated device that is a motion detector, and it looks like a little owl.
It's
his name is Steve. And then he has two, so he plugs into an outlet, and then he has two wireless motion sensors that you can place elsewhere. And you can program them so they have different sounds. So then okay, the one that sounds like a dog is in the back bedroom, and the one that sounds like a doorbell is wherever. And so we had one set up in, what was the name? Was it Mary or Julia's room?
Mary.
Or Laura. Is there
Laura?
a Julia? I'm
no.
just making up names.
No, you're making up names, but you got Laura and Mary, right?
Okay. So the little room off to the side, which I did not like, whatever room that was, one of the little who's, as we call them, was sitting in there, and that triggered. And you had said the person's name while you were under. I remember that.
It was probably Mary then.
Yes. And shortly after you said it, Ryan and I heard it, and we hear it on the GoPro as well, which is interesting because then it means something was moving around in that room. And those things have been on, well, since we got there. And to be honest, I don't think they went off at all until Jay kept walking in front of them. And we'd be like, "Ooh," and then realize it was Jay. But other than that, so again, if a bug's flying around, they would be triggered a lot. But it was just that one time it went off unexplained. But it was while you were doing the Estes and while you were, just after you had said the person's name.
You see, I wouldn't hear that.
Yeah. No, you were oblivious to a lot of things. I think the bell went off a few times, but yeah, there was, I know one time you were like, "What's going on?" Because something was happening and we were all freaking out. And I don't remember what that was.
I don't remember either.
No, but again, we all started accumulating together. There wasn't, I think we all had this intention, oh, we'll be in the basement and someone's up here and then we'll go there. And that never happened.
No, and that's another thing too, is I didn't go in the basement. I know Allison didn't go in the basement, but like we didn't go, and I know you and Jay went down there at one point, but we didn't investigate down there, which is really, really strange because usually, when we do research and stuff and all that, and we see these things, like we go and investigate, but we didn't, which is really strange. So obviously something just kept us out of the basement that night. I don't know. I
will say it was a bit anticlimactic, so you didn't miss much. But the strange thing is, prior to going down there, I wanted no part of it. And like I said, when you were sitting in the bathroom staring at that door, you couldn't pee fast enough. Like it was so intense. Yeah. Just knowing that door's there. And even though it's like padlocked closed, you're like, oh my God, it's gonna open. So when we finally did go down, which wasn't until the morning,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is it. But I don't think, well, I obviously didn't go down there at night, and
Mhm.
I had zero desire or intention. And you know me, I'm like, oh, a creepy basement? I'm all for
Yeah.
it. But this one, nope.
Nope.
I don't think someone opened the door at one point. I'm like, I don't even want to look down there. Like,
Yeah.
I just didn't want any part of it. And so when I did go down there, I was like, okay, but
Yeah.
not at night, which is weird because
Yeah.
it's literally like a dugout,
It
like
is.
an old
It's a
school
cellar.
basement. So you, it's not like you can even see if it's day or nighttime, but
No, it's
at
literally a
night
hole
it
in the
just
ground.
rents out.
It's a dirt basement. It's a hole
Yeah,
in the ground, right?
it is.
So that's yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. But even towards the end of the evening, as we're winding down, you won't remember because you were snoring logs on the other couch. But for the rest of us who were wide awake, I mean, it was constant. The strip lights were going off. The
Mhm.
K2 was going off. The REM pod was going off. And it seemed to be, as we started winding down, it would go off to kind of keep us alert.
Mhm.
And
Well,
then,
except
yeah, you were like, you were fine in your own little world. And
hey,
then
whatever.
I guess we'll talk about the incident. Basically,
So we should set this up first. Okay, so
okay.
I think it's like what is it, 1 o'clock in the morning or something?
No,
One
it was almost 3 o'clock in the
well,
morning.
when we all were sitting in the living like
Oh,
we
yes.
had
I thought you meant the actual incident.
no, no,
So,
oh, and we'll get there.
no.
I don't even know how long. So it was like 2 o'clock or something, we'll say. And then we
Yeah,
were all
because we
sitting
had
in the
finished
living
the
room.
Estes. We had
Yeah,
just finished the Estes, and then we were all just like, okay, we need to depart and
yeah, yeah.
kind of, yeah, ground
Well,
ourselves
this
a bit.
I should say this is after we had the incident where somebody just randomly showed up, which is a problem. I shouldn't say problem. It's a regular occurrence out there because it is in the
Hmm.
middle of nowhere, and this place has been on lots of TV shows. So people just show up just because they want to look for ghosts and all that, but they don't realize that people are actually there. So they do get a shock when they see there's cars there and lights on. It's like, oh my God. And I wanted to joke that, oh, we live here now. Like, why are
Yeah,
you here type
this is
thing?
our
But
beautiful
no,
house.
they just wanted to look around, but Allison and Ryan didn't really get a good vibe off of them.
Hmm.
So Kaz here decided that the safest thing to do was grab a pair of scissors to protect herself.
You're welcome. That was the only sharp thing I could find. Okay,
It
so
was hilarious.
I
It
would have
in
cut
itself, but
some nice hair. Yeah.
anyways, so like after that a whole like thing happened and we finished our Estes method and all that, we came and we were like chilling in the living room just talking about stuff, and I drove all day. I was friggin' tired. So I just curled up on the little couch and I was gone. I was done. I told everybody I was going to sleep, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, how do you sleep in a haunted place? How are you going to sleep at Hinsdale?" And my response was, "I'm closing my eyes and I'm going to sleep."
Exactly.
And that is
I'll find
exactly
a nice area.
what I did. I closed my eyes, and you know what? I was done. I was gone. I don't.
Oh,
There
I
was no
know.
dreaming. Apparently, I was snoring, but there was no dreaming. There was no nothing. I was just
Oh.
sleeping, and it was great until I woke up to screaming. And my first thought was, what the did I just
Yes,
what
you
apparition
missed the ghost.
oh my God, there was somebody standing there and they all seen it except for me. I missed out. I didn't miss out on anything.
No, you did not. No. So winding it back a little, we've all started winding down. And remember, we don't have any lights on because we're doing an investigation. So the only light in the room are the strip lights and the light on top of the REM pod. So it's pretty much dark and we're all slowly fading. And then I can just see this thing sort of flicker by, and I'm like, that's a pretty big moth. And then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose when we realized it's a freaking bat slash pterodactyl, and it's dive bombing us all because it can probably just hear us making sound, and it's just frantically trying to get out. And we're scrambling to get a light on. And that made it worse for some reason. And so now we're just screaming. And poor Rachel, like she said, woke up to just blood curdling screams. And Ryan catapulting from one side of the room to the other in some attempt, I don't know, to get away, to hide. We don't know. We'll never know.
Who touches me on his way to his little hiding corner to wake me up. Because I guess I have to be a part of this now.
Yes, you're not allowed to just sleep through the bat invasion.
It's
So
hard
that
to
was
see.
a good.
You can hear Allison, Rachel,
Yeah, she's screaming her name. It was pretty wild, and none of us could get up to like go and put on more lights because this thing is just dive bombing. We'll have to try and splice that video in because if you haven't seen it, it is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
And that's only just a portion of it.
Yes. So those of you who have not been to Hinsdale, they have CCTV cameras set up in pretty much every room, and they're going 24/7. And when you rent the place, they sometimes will give you a copy. You probably have to pay extra, but they'll give you a copy of the entire night that you're there, so that because there are times that you're obviously going to miss things, and so this way you get a copy of that. And thank goodness they did. I mean, I don't know how I started videoing when the bat was attacking. I have no idea, but somehow I'm videotaping, which captured quite a bit of it.
It's
and it
great.
was amazing. And
Memories
that woke us up, that's for sure. And then pretty much, I think it was Allison and I, and even maybe Jay was awake the rest of the night. I think Ryan and
I just
Liz
rolled over
slept, but
to sleep.
yeah, Rach was just like, figure it out. I'm back to sleep.
Yeah.
And we did. And no bats were harmed in the making of this whole thing. Just Ryan's ego, I think, from cowering in the corner. Well,
and getting in shit, and getting in shit from his wife for leaving her on the one side of the room to go to the other side of the room.
Yes.
Oh my God. That is, yeah.
It was interesting because, again, it felt like the house was trying to keep us awake, because every time we would slow down, the grandpa would go off, the K2. And so when we were finally just all like, no, this is it, we're going to sleep, it throws a bat at us. There you go. Thanks, Hinsdale.
And all I could think of afterwards was, it's freaking bats. It's a freaking bat. So, and now everything that comes up on my like Temu and it's all bats. So guess what? Everybody's getting a freaking bat for Christmas.
Yeah, that is now our mascot. That's for sure.
Yeah, but that's definitely a core memory now, and one that's gonna stick with us for quite a while.
Exactly. I think we're more scared of the wildlife than an actual ghost. If a ghost walked in, we'd be like, okay, chill, shh, we're trying to sleep. But the bat was something else.
It was the best ever, though. But yeah, so pretty much after that, we just all wound down for the night, and some of y'all saw the sunrise, and
we did. It was beautiful.
My eyelids, because I was still asleep. But you know, at like 8 o'clock in the morning, like Ryan and them were up, and he was just wanting to get out.
He had like a very, very interesting, I don't know what the turning point was, but I'm sure you'll interview him about this, but he was saying all of a sudden, he's like, I need to get the hell out of this house. And we had the house until like 10 or 11, and he was peeling out of that driveway at probably about 8. And we were like, oh, okay then. And it was later that he said, I was terrified and I needed to get out of there, because I went upstairs and was doing a spirit box session. I'm like, come upstairs with me. He's like, yeah, I'll be right there. And next thing I know, they're all packed up and he's leaving. And I didn't realize he's like, not a chance in hell. He was so done. And I don't know what it is that switched him.
Yeah, I don't know
like that, but he's excited to go back. So
that's the other thing. So like, I think out of all of us, we'd all go back except for Allison. Allison was anxious when we left. She didn't know why. She thought maybe she thought after a while, you know, it was just some stuff that was going on in her personal life that maybe it was just kind of spilling over into what we were doing. But that feeling never went away. And then it didn't go away when we got there. And then the bat incident happened, and she thought maybe it was the bat incident, but
Right.
it never went away. And she was pretty sure that it has something to do with the house and the land, and she doesn't want to experience again, which is, you know, totally, you know, it's fine. And, you know, I just don't know what that is. So for me, I want to go back. And I keep feeling like, oh, you know, I want to go back to that little Airbnb, the little haunted Airbnb, like, right? So it's, I want to go back. I think the plan is we are going back.
I think so too. And I think now that we've experienced it, we can get a better game plan, and we'll be a little bit more relaxed, maybe, at maybe splitting up and doing some things. Because even though we were there all night, it's still really hard to cover everything. And because we seem to end up being as a team and not ever separating, we're really only covering certain parts. And yes, we have cameras set up elsewhere, but it still, I think, warrants going back and doing some separate investigations and
definitely.
And seeing if we can recreate any of the stuff that happened the first time. To either debunk it or to be like, oh, something's going on here. And we'll just take
like
that.
A lot of the shows too that have gone there, and I know they do it for ratings and stuff, and they over sensationalize something because they need the ratings. Totally fine. But I think a lot of the stuff is a little misconstrued. So I think us going to get that correct information and to pass that correct information on is great. Like, I know that the information about the two brothers that live there, who were murderers, serial killers, they know it's not true. I know it's not true. And I shared with everybody, like, there were brothers. They were married, they had children, they didn't kill anybody, they didn't murder people, like, so there's that kind of stuff. And I think when you give that energy, you're gonna create something.
Of course.
So for me, what is there that's been created through the years by these stories and these rumors and all of this stuff and these investigators? What has been created and what is actually there?
Absolutely. And I think, as with any place that we go to, and you do your phenomenal research, and so when we show up to a place, we're talking to the spirits by name. We're bringing up things that, you know, happened and people they would know, as opposed to some of these other groups that go in and they're just, I don't want to say taunting, but they don't have information. So they're just like, who are you? What's your name? Tell me. And so we are reaching on maybe a more personal level. And so I think there is that connection. And like I said, with that house, I feel like it's sort of sussing us out as much as we are it when we first get there. And because we had this information, including that incredible photograph of that one child.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Looks like the drawing.
So if anyone has been there recently, someone who has been there drew a picture of what they saw on the stairs, which was a girl. And when I saw the picture, I was like, wait a second. So in my research, I was able to find pictures of the Dandy children when they would have lived in that house. So what they would have looked like. And the one Dandy child, and I can't remember the name. Unfortunately, she's the one that passed away young. She kind of predicted that she wasn't going to live very, very old. She did pass away. Now, people say suicide. Unfortunately, it was not. So those stories don't you can tell it's Friday night. Corroborate.
You can just edit that up. Collaborate.
It was an unintentional. And it was an unintentional death. As far as from what I have been able to research, it was that she took too much of medication and accidentally overdosed. So it was not intentional whatsoever. So no matter what anybody says, it wasn't intentional, people. But anyways, what is her name? Is it
Claire?
Is it Laura or Beth? It was one or the other. I have my note.
Claire?
I just pull my notes out because they're right there.
Don't ask me. I was making up names before. So
Julia. Where the hell
I'm
did
pretty
Julia
sure it's
come from?
Claire.
Let me see if I can find them here, guys. I'm just kind of feeling around for my files. Nope, that's stuff for a different investigation. I just seen the darn things. Oh my gosh, where are you? Right here. Look at that. Sitting out just for me.
Perfecto.
Okay. So I'm just going to set my laptop down here. All right. It is. No, it wasn't Laura. Because I'm looking at her picture now. Maybe it was Laura. Never mind, it was Laura.
Oh, she's not Claire.
It has to be Laura because she's the first picture in here, and she would have been. But let me see if I can find my information here. I got lots of stuff. This is what investigators do, and it's a lot, and it's great.
Wow, it's what our team of investigators do. I don't think all investigators do that.
No, I don't think so either. But they should. Okay, where am I here? There it is. Yeah, Laura. So this is just us trying to put 2 and 2 together here. So there's a picture on the wall by the stairs of what an investigator who was there saw, I'm assuming. And I looked at the photo and I was like, oh, wait a second. That drawing looks like one of the Dandy children. And like I said, I was able to find pictures of the Dandy children when they were living in the house at the time. This is like, that's Laura.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if anyone took a picture of the drawing, but right down to like the forehead and the hair, it's uncanny. And I don't know who it is that saw it. Apparently they saw this person on the stairs and quickly drew a sketch of them, but it's very creepy how much it looks like her.
Yeah, so that makes me wonder if she is still there, because a lot of their energy would have gone into that house because the experiences that they were having to them were terrifying. If you ever read the book by Clara Dandy, or Clara Miller, who she went back to her maiden name once they divorced, it's called Echoes of a Haunting, and it's literally about their entire experience from moving into the house to moving out, that a firsthand experience. And for me, when I was reading it, some of the stuff wasn't scary. It was unnerving. Well, for me, it wasn't scary, but maybe for a typical, family that doesn't believe in ghosts or hasn't had experiences, it would be scary. So doors banging, things falling off the walls, sounds, noises. Now the burns, don't get me wrong, that would be
not cool.
That's not no. But that kind of stuff, right? So a lot of energy from them went into that house because of their experiences. So did she possibly come back? Maybe that day and someone saw her. I don't know, but that's definitely something very interesting. And I think I shocked Ryan when I showed him. I was like, wait a second, these things are the same. They look really, really similar. So yeah, that's interesting. It's very interesting. So
absolutely. But that's just the extra step I feel that we go to. And so now, someone's drawn this picture, that's great. But now we can be like, but maybe it's this person. So let's start calling her by name. And it's not just, little girl,
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah. I think maybe in the fall would be great because then there's not as many bugs. But it does get
friggin' bears, though. I don't know about bats.
And bats.
I think bats hibernate.
They would probably be trying to come in for sure.
They'd be in the house for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I would suggest reading that Echoes of a Haunting by Clara M. Miller. If you want to get an inside view of what's been going on.
I knew there was a Clara.
Yeah,
I'm not going crazy.
And then we do have one of our friends, Jason McGray, wrote a book. Was it Stories from Beyond the Unknown? And Daniel, who owns the house now, has written a story for that book. So that would be his, firsthand experience about him owning and visiting and investigating. So you could read that as well to get an insight. But yeah, definitely a place that I think everyone should visit, just to,
Yeah.
even if they offer a lot more than just spending the night. Like, you can go for a tour during the day. You can tour at night. They have, ghost stories by the campfire type thing. So they're definitely doing a great job at keeping history alive, and also allowing us paranormal investigators to go in and see what we can find and what we can experience,
Yeah.
and kind of research and all that. So yeah.
It was wonderful. And it was great because we didn't have to rush out. A lot of our investigations, 11 or 12, they're kind of like, okay, we got to go home, so we got to get out of there. But this we could, leisurely hunt the ghosts, and it was great.
Treat it like it was our own house.
Exactly. With a sketchy bathroom facing a horrific place.
Well, at least the basement had a door.
Yes. This is true. I don't know that anyone would have gone in there if it was just wide open.
Oh, I probably would have. Whatever. Listen, we went to the unknown, the place that will not be named.
Yes, I know. You didn't even go to the bathroom. It was me and my toilet buddy would go into the bush, and I'm like, you got to keep guard for whatever was cruising around out there, which I think was paranormal in itself.
There were no bears.
No, I didn't know what to be more afraid of, like coyotes, bears, goblins, ghouls. I don't know what was out there, but it was scary. That was the fastest I've ever peed in my life, just so that I could be gone. Yeah.
Nope, not peeing out in the bush.
This is why we need like an RV, the Ghostmobile, so that it has an indoor toilet just for these occasions.
just so when we go back to that place that shall not be named, because that's happening too at some point.
Oh, I can't wait. See, I'm super excited about that one.
Yeah,
but for sure, I will be on board for Hinsdale Part 2.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Me too. And then I think Ryan is, Jay is, Liz will probably come, and then I guess we have room for one more person. So, Anne, Kathy,
we'll see.
Whoever's available.
Exactly.
Will not go back. Oh, speaking of backs, or going back, or coming back, did you feel like you brought anything back with you?
So interestingly enough, I would say for about a week when we got back, there was something in and around my house. I think I told you guys, I'm like, something is like banging in the kitchen, and I feel like I'll come around the corner and I've like walked into someone, and I'm like, what the heck? It only lasted about a week.
Yeah.
And then it seemed to dissipate. And I don't really know if I'm a believer of like attachments or things coming back with you, but absolutely there was something. And even my wonderful other half, he heard it too, because he thought his son was up. And I was like, no, that's something happening right here in the kitchen. And it was like as if someone was opening and closing the door and banging it. And then you'd hear like walking down the hallway, and it was
so I know I know Allison had similar stuff too, so she was pretty sure something did come back. Jay's certain something came back, but I don't hear nothing in this house. I think I know what the problem is. He took a picture. I don't know if you remember, there was a picture of a boy on my wall, like a framed, like a painting type, and Jay took him off the wall. He was behind the computer, so I got the one with the fancy frame, and then Jay's computer. Jay took him off the wall and put up a picture that he bought when we were at Hobby Lobby. And I think him taking him off the wall pissed something off, because Jay's been hearing stuff. So I think that's the problem. But
yeah,
I don't know if Ryan has had any experiences.
I haven't really heard of it from him or seen him since. So we went to Dominion. Okay.
Yeah. Then again, somebody hasn't been around, so maybe I should ask his wife.
Yeah, I don't think they need much else going on in their house right now. So let's hope they didn't have anything go back.
But yeah, dear. I don't know. Never know.
Well, I guess we want to come back with us
anyways.
Yeah.
We're not fancy or fun. Stay there.
Yeah.
I don't.
Maybe they came back with me and they were like, "Man, I don't like it so much here."
Yeah. What's this place? This place.
Although I basically live in the exact same thing, only in Canada, because
Yeah,
we have like the rolling hills and the forest and the land, and don't have a creepy basement.
I do.
So yeah, go to Rachel's.
No, no. Got enough crap here. I don't need anything else.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. But anyways, that is our trip to
Yeah.
Hinsdale.
Yeah,
And we'll probably do another video when we go again.
absolutely. I think
So,
we'd need to
oh yeah, for
compare
sure.
it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But like we said, it'll probably either be a smaller group or we'll have someone different.
Mhm,
I don't blame Allison for not wanting to go back at all.
mhm.
So, but yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I'm excited.
me too. But mark off the bucket list. There's a few others on the bucket list, but we'll get there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
The ghosts aren't going anywhere, so
no,
we'll be there.
neither are we. I've been around long enough. I'm like a staple.
You will.
You know, everybody wishes they could be like me.
Exactly. There's a reason we are busy every friggin' weekend.
That
That's
is the
right.
reason why I have no life. Thanks, everybody. No, but
When
we
you
are.
hunt the dead, you don't have a life.
Yeah, yeah. And we're so grateful for all these opportunities and stuff that we get. So we just
Mhm.
make fun of ourselves. Don't worry about it, everybody. Got to have a little bit of a joke because, there's no bats here tonight. So we can't joke about it.
Oh, there's probably a bunch outside
Oh, well,
where
where
I
you
live.
live.
Yeah. They can
Seriously,
stay out there.
I almost bought that bat hoodie because I was going to put it on and flap my arms, even though I have bat wings anyways, but whatever.
Oh man.
I still might buy it though. Christmas party's going to be fun.
Oh, it'd be great.
So, but all right, guys. Well, thank you for watching, and we will talk soon. And
Yeah.
if you like this type of video, we might have something up our sleeves coming up very soon if we can get
Mhm.
together and figure it out. But yeah, super fun.
Absolutely. And if you guys have had any experience at Hinsdale, let us know in the comments because we'd love to hear your stories.
We love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but thanks everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.